I think, Nina, last Sunday, you said at the end that you would like to discuss more about nimitta or something. Would you like to start?
The second meaning, and Jonathan was helping me too, about the second meaning that is about sanya, which marks every moment, and the nimitta maker, and exactly what it is, I still don't understand. Can you hear me? Yeah.
And what is seen now? What is seen now?
What is seeing now?
What is that which is seen now?
What is seen now? What everything that is visible, but I say that's in theory, because in real life now, I find it very difficult.
Yes, but we don't talk in theory. We talk about what is now appearing. Is there anything?
Well,
appears now?
People and things.
Okay, the answer is people and things, but what is the truth of that which is seen? Because people is nimitta, without the reality which arises in false way, which can be seen by seeing the Chakvinyana. There cannot be anything appear as people and thing at all. But what is seen is not only that which can be seen, but since the rapidity of the arising and falling away so fast, unknown at all, condition different shape and form, one by one. For example, when you talk about people, there are many people, different people. When you talk about one person, the eye, the clothes, the ear, the hand, everything has to impinge on the eye base. So it conditions the seeing to experience it as that and then fall away, no nimitta as something at all. But when it arises there again and again, over and over, and non-stop, what appears is something there, permanent with many details, and that is nimitta. Just one reality cannot be experienced directly at all, no matter seeing or sampatichana or santirana, that cannot be known at all. But that which is seen has to impinge just that rupa, very, very tiny, and that which can impinge on it, it's not the hardness or the Mahabhuta Rupa, but it's only that which is there with the form Mahabhuta Rupa, impinge on and stay on just very, very short and fall away before there can be the idea or shape and form of something. That's why we live from birth to death in the world of nimitta, not understanding what is there in truth at all. So we begin to know that what is there is nimitta all the time, while the reality which is there is not known until Buddha enlightened, and he taught us everything about that which is seen, heard, and thought about, and so on, all are nimitta. That's why even seeing is nimitta, citta is nimitta, rupa is nimitta, vedana is nimitta, sanya is nimitta, sankhara khanda nimitta, vijnana khanda nimitta. All are only nimitta because of the rapidity of the arising and falling away of the absolute truth. This is the difference. Without the absolute truth, there cannot be nimitta. But what appear cannot be the absolute truth one by one, but the nimitta of each one. Is that clear now? Before there can be the satta bandhati or other thing as something permanent.
Yes. I find a connection between the concept that appears, like a person seems to appear, and what you say, the reality of each of the 5 khandhas, that I find clearer to understand. But a concept, and we think of a person and we think it appears, And that is also nimitta. I find that harder to understand. But I understand that there are many different moments before there can be the idea of a person.
Before there can be the idea of person, right understanding has to penetrate the true nature of our reality, but not only one. For example, there is nothing at all, just one. One. We don't know one, whether it is, but even it's one, there is I or the experiencing of that one. So before it can be something one, there must be many, many moments of reality arising and falling away until there is the idea of one. See? And that is also nimitta, already nimitta. See?
Yes.
So the teachings of the Buddha is so very, very subtle, so deep, that it needs the panya develop from just one word, understand clearer and clearer and clearer until it's nothing. So the point of the absolute truth is nothing. There is nothing. But whenever there is conditioned reality appearing, arising, there is the idea of something permanent all the time in one's life, from life to life. But when there is the understanding just a little bit that actually there's nothing, if there's no conditioned reality arising, there cannot be anything at all. So actually it has arisen and fallen away, completely never to return, just like before it is conditioned to arise. That's why everything is nothing. So it can lessen the clinging and the idea of I or self, even just that should be implanted, cultivated from moment to moment. That's why when we have such understanding clearly about no one, nothing at all, there can be more understanding after hearing and considering what is taught by the Buddha. All are nothing, but it's there by conditions, that's all. Otherwise, it's impossible to let go the idea of self or something until it is nothing.
Very good to consider this more. Yeah, we never consider this enough.
So when we know that everything is just nimitta, that's all, because the reality has fallen away completely, never to return at all, nothing, but only the image of that which has been conditioned, arising and falling away, never to return. This can eliminate the idea of clinging to permanent thing, that actually there's none, nothing at all. Only that which is conditioned to ignorance, no understanding what it is. Until it's time to hear the right word, the true word from the Buddha, and consider the truth.
So every time I hear about it, it is like new, as if I never considered enough.
Right. Actually, there's no me. This is quite a relief. No me. No matter good or bad or whatever, seeing, hearing, thinking, no me. Just a moment, very, very short moment, arising and falling away and never to return. And this is samsara. Nothing in samsara can come back or can arise again. They are all gone completely, never to return. And what is that which cannot be known as self when there's right understanding, because they are all gone completely, never to return at all. So how can there be the I? Only different moment of that which arises and falls away from life to life in samsara, non-stop, until panya is there, eliminate all the cause or condition for its arising. When there's the understanding of citta, no doubt about that which now sees, is that which experiences an object only once, never again.
So often
And this
there
is
is
life.
so
No
often there
load,
is
no load
thinking.
awake anymore. No Nina just a moment ago. No I at all. Only memory and idea. Wrong understanding of that nimitta as something permanent. But it's just nimitta. Without reality, they cannot be nimitta at all. So we cling to nimitta so much. Anupayanchana, nimitta, everything, because of not understanding the truth of it. And this is a level of being relieved from ignorance, just little by little. And when it's more and more confidence, firmer, then right understanding can eliminate gradually the idea of self until no more wrong understanding of self. But still, there are conditions for reality. As there are realities, no one. But since there are conditions for their arising, they arise in front of it until the end, when there's the panya, which attain the arahataship. Very natural, like this moment, seeing nimitta, see, until it becomes to be only nimitta, no one, nothing at all. Just like a dream. Dream of what which appears as so real, but actually it's only nimitta.
Anjana, could you say a few words about those two terms, please?
Pardon?
You mentioned earlier nimitta and anubhyanchana.
Yes.
Yes. Could you say a
Because,
few words about that, please?
yeah, it's just the same, but the details of nimitta we call anubhyanchana.
Thank you. Details of nimitta.
No difference, just the details.
Ajarn, what do you mean by details?
Okay. Do you see a window?
Yes.
What shape? Square or round?
Square, yeah.
And what is there? Nothing? Or some picture or color, different colors?
Picture.
See, so you can tell the difference by nimitta. But what you can say is it's only window.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay, thank you.
Ajarn, didn't you give the example once of a page, and on the page you've got all the letters? That's the details. Is that something? Is that correct?
I don't understand that. What do you mean?
Well, I thought you gave an example once where you said you see a page. We have a meter of a page that we are reading, but on that page there's also letters. So they can be talked about as the anubhyanchana. Is that correct?
Yeah. When we take anything for just seeing, and when we talk about the details, that is anubhyanchana. That's all. No difference. It's the image of the arising and falling away of realities. And just one by one, so they are quite different, the nimitta and anubhyanchana. But when we don't care or take much about anubhyanchana, we just take it as nimitta. It's daily life. But there is more understanding about the difference. But they are all dhammas, arising and falling away, depending on thinking about whether you take it for the whole or you just pay attention to the difference. So life is nimitta and anupayanjana of the absolute realities which no one knows about. The truth of it. That's why just learn to understand the truth of whatever appears, because life is a moment of experiences, that which appears. To let go the idea of wrong understanding of self and thing and akusala, to know that actually they are only different realities, uncontrollable, no one at all. No one, but different realities only. From life to life. Even right now, nimitta anupayanjana, any time of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. Just like a dream, it appears, it's there only when it appears. No more, not at all, completely, absolutely gone. Before this can be discerned and can be understood clearer, Panya develops little by little, and it conditions detachment from take it so much as real thing, like real I, my friend, my things, to just that which appears only and then gone, no matter what.
Ajarn,
Only, yes, please.
would it be correct to say that nimitta appears, but anupayanjana does not appear? It's just an object of thinking.
Who can tell? It depends on moment of conditioned reality. When you eat in the morning, it depends on nimitta appear or anupayanjana appear. That's only that.
Whether, Sukhin, whether you're talking about the nimitta or the anupayanjana, it is just the sign of the reality. So it's just visible object that's seen, but it depends whether there are conditions to attend to just that which is visible or the details of what is visible, but it's still just visible object. But each moment, each visible object is different. So the nimitta and the anupayanjana is the sign of that which is arising and falling away rapidly. So it just depends at that moment what is experienced. And I wanted to say to Nina when, because she had heard and was confused by people is nimitta or concept is nimitta. Actually, there's no people, there's no concept, there's no something at all. But the nimitta of reality is taken for something, or people, or telephone, or computer, or friend, or person. But it's still just seeing that's seen, and it's still just the nimitta of seeing which appears. But because of misunderstanding, it's taken for something all the time. So it's nimitta of the reality which is taken for something or for people. So when we hear our nimitta is people, or it's just a shorthand for saying that the nimitta of reality, the sign of what has arisen and fallen away rapidly, is taken for that, for people or something, or for Nina, but no Nina, no people, no something at all in reality. And whether it's the nimitta or the anupyanjana that is taken for something or Nina doesn't matter. It just depends whether, like now, there's visible object, whether it's the general visible object that appears or the sign of the, or the details of the visible object that appears. So both the nimitta and the anupyanjana are of the reality.
So, Sarah, when we think we see someone's face, does the face appear, or is just thought about?
The face is just thought about, but why is the face thought about? Why, when looking at Sukhin, is there different kind of thinking than when looking at Nina? Because the nimitta and the anupyanjana are different. The nimitta and anupyanjana of what has been seen are different in each case. So if one just looks very quickly, there may not be any thinking about who is who, but when there is more looking, then it's clear the details are different. So the realities are different. So the nimitta and anupyanjana of the realities of this visible object is different from this visible object. And visible objects seen arising and falling away so rapidly, so many visible objects, and each one has its own nimitta and anupyanjana. And that's why there's thinking of different people.
What appears is visible object. Is there anything other than that which appears when we think we see a face?
We say that what appears is visible object, but actually what is seen as visible object, but actually what appears is the nimitta of the visible object, the nimitta and anupyanjana of the visible object.
Yes, I understand. So what you're saying about anupyanjana is that anupyanjana is also a kind of nimitta, or what?
Yes, it is.
At the moment of seeing, the object is just a visible object. But there are many moments of seeing following each other. And as I understand it, there is thinking about the moments of what is seen at the different moments. And as I understand, it's by virtue of that thinking that the idea of a person or particular individual comes to mind.
Yeah, but I would have thought that what appears is the nimitta of each reality, and then what comes across as anupyanjana is that makes the distinction between one and the other is concept.
Visible object itself has its own nimitta and anupyanjana, because it's not, we can't say the anupyanjana is just concepts about the nimitta. It's also the sign of the reality which appears, depending on conditions at different moments. So it depends, so many visible objects are seen and rising and falling away, and it depends whether it's the nimitta or an anupyanjana that appears now. I don't think it's important. It's just a detail. It's kind of nimitta, but the question was about the distinction, that's all. So when we hear about or read about the signs and details, it's still just the different nimitta of reality.
I think I may have missed this earlier, but there are nimitta of concepts as well. Is that right? We're thinking of a face, for instance. That's concept. And is there a nimitta of that as well, as an object of thinking?
I think that when it's thinking of concept, it's just thinking of concept, thinking of that which is not real. So, as Jonathan said, nimitta is used in different contexts, like when in the development of samatha, then it is nimitta that is experienced. It's not reality. But usually, like in this context that we're discussing it, and which Ajarn has been talking about, it's nimitta of the reality which has arisen and fallen away rapidly.
Yeah,
So in this context, it's always nimitta of reality.
Okay.
And if she mentioned something like she did earlier, what is seen now was nimitta, it means there is the idea of people because of nimitta.
Yes.
So it's very subtle, as she mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
And as she said, from birth to death, it's just the world of nimitta appearing, but it's always taken for something and someone all the time.
Kun Sikin, if you don't see the face, what do you see?
What I understand is what seeing sees only visible object.
That is the idea and the thinking about the word, but in truth, in daily life, in life, if you don't see the face, like today, if you don't see the face, what do you see?
Color, different colors.
But no idea that I see color at all in one's life today, right? You see the face, you see many things, not just color, right?
Right.
That's why we can understand that what Buddha taught is about everything in life as it is, to explain the truth of it. For example, if there is no absolute realities at all, there cannot be anything appearing at all. No face, no one at all. Is that Sarah?
What I understand, Sarah, is experience through seeing, through hearing, and thinking.
Do you see, Sarah?
You want to give? You want me to give a correct Dhamma answer, or what?
See, we live in the world of nimitta out there, but actually there's no Sarah at all. The rupa which is seen is not Sarah, and the fact, the truth is that it's only that which can impinge on the eye base, and without seeing there will be no one, nothing at all. So it's only the happening or the arising of realities all the time, one moment to another moment, from up the idea of the world and things around. But the absolute truth is that actually there's none. Without conditions, nothing can arise. And as soon as whatever arises is gone completely, what is left is that which is the flux, the rapidity of the arising and falling away of the rupa and the nama and the sanya and everything. That's why they are all nimitta. The exact one, the actual one, is completely gone, never be known, never to return, until the truth from the word of the Buddha condition what is there, no one, but they are all different realities, and we call it face or nimitta or anupayansa, whatever, just to make it known as what we are talking about. But it's not the absolute truth, which just there, only at moment when it appears and then gone, never to return at all. And this is the beginning to understand the words of the Buddha, the truth of reality in life, each life, from life to life. Actually, none. Otherwise, there cannot be the eradication of the idea of self, because so very deeply rooted. But when it's nothing, not there anymore, it appears and then disappears, even while it seems like it still appears all the time. See? To understand the truth little by little, until the truth appear well to the highly developed panya, that each word that Buddha taught from his enlightenment, no one. Otherwise, there must be always avijja and akusala and samsara non-stop. But it doesn't mean that we can become Sotapanna, Sakatakami, Anakami, Arahata so soon, but it depends on the truth of being truthfulness, whether there is no I, no one at all, only different realities. From then on, we study the words of the truth about reality with understanding of no one, until attachment or clinging is less and less, and that is meant letting go the other reality at moment of understanding, only one reality at a time, so it can appear well to be known as it is. Just to learn to understand, that's all. Not try to ignore or try to let go or try to do what and what, but it's a function of right understanding only. And right understanding is only that moment of understanding the truth of whatever appears, little by little.
So, Ajarn, are you saying that because you refer to how realities rise and fall away together very fast, one after the other, that there is nimitta also due to many realities rising and falling away one after the other?
In life, all in life, everything in life.
That's why you asked me, what about now? Do you see, Sarah? And that actually is only possible because many realities rise and fall away.
Right.
And okay.
Mm-hmm. That's the meaning of anatta and all dhammas. Without this beginning, start of understanding, it's impossible to go on with letting go the idea of self.
The other day in one of the Vietnamese discussions, there was an interesting point. Someone asked a question about, I think it was about what are the hindrances to vipassana, but it could have been about nimitta, it could have been about anything. And one important point Ajarn was stressing was that instead of thinking about vipassana, or it could be whatever it is one's so concerned about, what about understanding more and more about what appears now? Because this is the way to become detached from desiring, wanting to understand, to know everything in life non-stop. So there has to be the letting go, otherwise we think it's Dharma, but when it's just desiring, trying to work out the details, trying to work out the answer, there's no understanding of just what appears at this very moment. So I found it very helpful in that context, as in any context. We think it's a good question or a good point, but what appears right now, even when one's trying to work out the story, what about understanding the seeing now, the hearing now, whatever it's called, no matter it's called nimitta or anupyanjana or anything else. It's just that which appears at this moment.
That's a problem for many people. What appears now? Because what is that now? And people are wondering. That's really difficult.
I think Nina, it's just shows that understanding needs to develop. And when the understanding is not strong, then these questions arise. And when it's Satyayana, then one knows that the only way to eradicate the idea of self is to understand what appears, not work out, not trying to get answers to the kind of questions that we put forward, but just understanding what appears.
Yes, right. Yeah.
This is why it has to come back to the basic points again and again, that there is just visible object that is seen now, which is anatta, no matter what way it's expressed or what details we hear about, or at the moment of not being satisfied with the answer or trying to work it out. What about the desire and the clinging or the disturbance at that moment? So understanding what appears now is more precious than any detail or any idea that we may have. So it always comes back to this moment, to life right now.
Yes, but we have to accept that when Panya is not so far yet, it's not possible. So it only depends on Panya.
So even when we're talking about nimitta, we're actually talking about the development of Panya that develops closer and closer to understanding the reality at this very moment. So in the beginning, before hearing about the Dhamma, we thought we see people, we see trees out of the window. Gradually, there's more understanding that this is just thinking about ideas, until there's more understanding that it is just visible object at this very moment. And just the same, like at the beginning of the discussion, for many people, there was confusion about how to join the Zoom. And we think the problem is the difficulty and the technical issues and this and that. But the problem is actually just the worry and the confusion and the attachment right at this moment. So whatever it is, whatever occurs in daily life, it's just reality at this moment that appears and can be understood. The rest is all thinking about stories because of the nimitta of those realities.
Yes, yes.
It's very sorry.
The only thing that can be done is really hearing it again and again and discussing it.
Yeah, this has been so helpful for me, because I remember at the very beginning there was anger because of not being informed of the ID and the password, or whether for this, all these little details. And it's so important to remember that it's only realities. But the problem is when there's a gusala arising and you're not thinking, the thought of realities doesn't arise at that moment when it would be most helpful for it to arise. It doesn't arise. And that, I remember years ago asking Ajarn that very question, and she would always say, this because there's not enough understanding developed at this point. So that's why it happens.
And it's common to everyone lost in the story with, as you say, with anger or mana, like, why didn't they tell me? Why wasn't I informed? Everyone else seemed to know. But these are just common daily life realities because of clinging to self. So there can be understanding even then, even whilst thinking with anger or thinking of mana. It's just passing dhammas of absolutely no importance, common to everyone, not my mana, not my anger. They're just passing dhammas. And it's the same with if there is understanding or calm, not of any importance because it's gone instantly. Actually, there's nothing there at all. So that's why the Dhamma is so useful. And what happened earlier, half an hour ago, is completely gone, never to return. So what about seeing now? No anger now, so completely gone, never to come back. Whatever it is, we take so seriously, but it's gone immediately. And Ajarn, another topic that came up the other day that was interesting, someone was asking about Dhamma Sankappa, right? thinking of the Eightfold Path. And there was an aspect which I hadn't heard before. Can you hear me, Ajarn?
Yes.
Yes. The question was about Samasankappa, and I always understood we can only use Samasankappa when referring to the Eightfold Path. But you were talking in a lot of very helpful detail about how even when there is learning to consider the truth right now, hearing the truth of what is real at this moment, it is right thinking. It is Samasankappa. Well, it doesn't really matter what term we use, but I would have thought this was just the beginning of understanding, considering wisely, that will lead to the path and to the arising of Samasankappa. Can we talk about the wise reflection now as Samasankappa?
Yes, I think that it's impossible to understand the Cetasika and the Chitta because they are hidden for years and years ago. So what we have heard from life to life is just a word about the realities, but not all of them. For example, when we use the word right thinking, we think about thinking only. But Vitaka arises before thinking, see. So the word thinking does not fit in all meanings of Vitaka yet. That's why learn to understand reality as it is. And sometimes it's beyond the word, but it can be understood that they are different. For example, Phassa Cetasika. See, only Phassa. See, just touch, what is meant by just touch. It cannot understand anything at all. It cannot do other thing beyond that, only touching. And it's the function of the Dhamma, the reality, which can know, which can experience, so it can touch. And its function is touch. See, even so, Phassa is not the Eightfold Path, one of the Eightfold Paths at all, because it's just touching. That's why each Cetasikas are so very, very intricate that it's not easy to use any word to fit all the meanings of it. But there can be some more, a little more understanding of each from considering. For example, the seeing doesn't have Vitaka Cetasika because it just happened, the Uppatti. It has to Uppatti, just arise by Kamma as conditions when it's time for that Kamma to condition the Nama which has gone, which has done a Kamma, can produce result at any time when it's completed to be conditions for that moment. See, that's why only 7 Cetasikas can condition seeing, hearing, so forth, without Sankappa, without Vitaka. So after that, why there is other Cetasikas? Because it's different from only just arise to see and not know anything at all. Just experience that which appears. Not a tree, not anything yet, but only that which impinges on it. So it can just arise and see and experience only that. After that, the other Cetasikas condition the other moment of Citta because it performs the function which is not seeing. So people can use the word thinking, but it's not yet thinking like we used to think in a day because there are so many Cetasikas and realities unknown. They arise together by condition and they fall away. Only one can be known at a time, and what can be known is only that which appear in daily life, but that which does not appear in daily life, even they were there, they cannot be object of understanding because they do not appear as to any moment of experiencing of Citta at all. So we have to consider the very, very subtle function of each Cetasika. Like Phassa is not Vitaka. Vitaka is not concentration. It's not Manasikara. So they are quite different, but they are different by conditions, by their own way. So vitaka, no matter who knows it or not, it is that which touch. Whatever is there, it touch so that it can experience the object. Otherwise, that object which is seen and heard cannot be object of the next citta, which is sampatichana. See, that's why from then on, from the 10th citta, vitaka arises with each citta. We don't talk about the jhana and so on, which will come later, just ordinary, very common one. So no one knows about manasikara, chivitindriya, or vitaka, or atimukha at all. But Buddha told us why? Because it can condition thinking, considering about no one, no self. They are different realities. That's why if you simply say vitaka is right thinking, or sammasankappa is right thinking, people might think that only thinking can lead to understand reality as Ariya Satya, which is wrong, because it's not thinking in word or thinking with any idea, but it just touch. So before it can be moment of manasikara, pay attention and the concentration stronger than that, to concentrate or focus on the characteristic of reality, they need many cetasikas to condition a moment of understanding with wrong understanding, right understanding, wisely or unwisely, all by conditions. That's why we see that vitaka is one important thing, because it can touch with the other help of other cetasikas as manasikara, wise, considering, or what and what and what, to condition a moment of understanding little by little about that which appears until it can touch the object so that panya understand it clearly. Like,
and you mentioned that, so the word sankappa, like you mentioned, yes, I think thinking is very misleading translation, as much to be avoided.
What do you think if one would say right thinking?
I think it's very misleading because, for example, at moments of right understanding of reality, it's not thinking, so it's not a very good translation, but it's difficult to find any translation. And when you mentioned that seeing arises without sankappa, usually we say seeing arises without vitaka. So you're using sankappa just for vitaka in any context, not just in terms of when there is right understanding. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's why we use different words for different aspects at different moments, with many different cetasikas arising together.
And also, I think you were stressing that in an idle process, for example, the reason after seeing that it's the same object experienced by the other citas is because of vitaka. So it depends on what vitaka touches, because vitaka keeps touching visible object, which is the reason that the other citas experience visible object.
Just to help one to consider why it is sankappa when it's vitaka.
Right. Okay, it's quite an interesting topic.
So, Ajarn, is the vitaka which arises with intellectual understanding because samma sankappa?
Do we need to say samma sankappa? Or it doesn't matter whether we call it vitaka cetasika or samma sankappa of the Eightfold Path or not of the Eightfold Path. But it leads to that moment, which is different from moment when it arises with sampatichana and santirana. Just understand, don't mind the word. We can change the word. But that word implies or represents what stage of reality it is.
But also we also make it clear that there is a big difference between direct understanding and intellectual understanding.
Right. When it's only just a word without meaning, without understanding, it is sampapalapa, frivolous talk, useless. Each word of this word is just great reminder to not be careless, no heedless of the truth of reality, which is so very deep.
And
That's
even
why
if
each
it's
word study from the beginning and go on and come back again to the beginning and go on and go back again to the beginning to really understand the characteristic of it. Like we talk about the 52 Jetasikas by name, that's all in the beginning, go on, and then come back again to different levels of understanding of the function of or vitaka, like Kama vitaka, not Sankappa, and the other part of the Dipika, it is used as Sankappa as well. See, just to explain the different, so very different of reality. Very little different.
And it's actually an interesting point what you were just saying about foolish talk too.
Mm-hmm. That's why each word is so valuable to be reminded.
What I'm going to ask is maybe a little bit foolish talk as well, but I'm just wondering why the word Sankappa is used in the case of the Eight Noble Four Paths instead of Pitaka. Why it's not Sama Pitaka but Sama Sankappa? Is there any reason for that?
Yes, because Vitaka arises with Sampadichana. We don't have to use Sankappa because it has to develop too, according to the word, the meaning in grammar or term in Pali. Why do we use different words like Lopa, Sineha, and Draka, and Nanta, and so on? Because they have many aspects, many profiles.
Thank you, Ajarn. Thank you, Ajarn.
But Ajarn, you're saying that still, whatever word, whatever level, it's still the same Chetasika, right?
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you use quite a little wrong term, but the meaning, you can make it clear or something like that, because some might not be wise to the language, but they can understand and try their way to help the other. That's all. Like me, I don't know much vocabulary like the Pali term and so on, but the difference of the reality is that can be explained little by little.
Yes, I think that's really important point. Sometimes we get hung up on finding the right word or term, but helping others to understand more about realities and the right way is more important than the words we use or the right Pali terms or the pronunciation or anything else. It's just about the understanding now. That is what is precious. So, yes, thank you, Ajarn.
I'll try my best. Very simple word that I can use only, but it can be understood because it can bring about thinking in details, like the word vitaka, the word samma sankappa, and there can be other words too. But if we understand that it's a reality and it arises with different jittas, but they have different meaning when it arises with this samatha or that vipassana or level of vipassana and so on. Because you see that we can think about good things in a day as vitaka when it's not the right words which Buddha taught, but it's the right thing in general. But when it's the right word that Buddha taught, it means different from usual. And then we know that talk about realities, the absolute reality, and this moment. And this moment is like the measure of understanding of what we had studied or learned or read for years or eons ago, about even just seeing right now. The beginning to understand that which experiences needs time. It takes time, quite a long time, to get used to the reality which experiences all day different things, unknowingly that it's no one at all, only a moment of arising and experiencing from time to time, non-stop. That's why there are pariyatti, patipatti, and pativeda, different levels of understanding. And parami, see, satya parami, to be truthful. This is pariyatti, as long as it's not the moment of understand reality, which appears without choice, no intention, anatta, and it's different from moment when there's no awareness, and even it is awareness. What is panya? Strong or weak, enough or not yet? Or where's the eye? Stare at the feeling, sanya, memory, vedana, sankhara, and other things which hasn't been known yet. See? So the way is quite long. And that is the only way to eliminate detached clinging to wanting to get result, to be enlightened, something like that. Just understanding. It accumulates by no one but by conditions because of arising again and again and again. But who knows when will it be again? By conditions. And this is just the only way, the right way to understand anattanness. No expectation, just understanding what is moment of understanding. And it's only that which can understand more by conditions.
I have a question.
Please.
Ajarn, the moment there is awareness and the moment there is no awareness, can we say this is also even at the level of pariyatti or intellectual understanding, there can be already a beginning of understanding the difference when there is awareness and when there is no awareness.
Because you see that even awareness or no awareness has to be by understanding. It's not just anyone can judge whether this moment is awareness or right understanding. Only right understanding can know the moment of no awareness and moment of awareness. So instead of pay attention to awareness, what is right understanding? Because without right understanding, there is no conditions for right awareness to arise at all. That's why letting go don't mind about the awareness itself, but the understanding. When there is the understanding, at this moment, for example, of seeing, begin to understand it, it experience that which sees is experiencing that which is seen. Only that. Even it's again and again and again, it means closing, getting nearer to understand the actual moment of seeing at that moment. So when it's not that yet, one knows that it's not clear to understand that which experience. Even it experience all day, but the characteristic which experiences does not appear as only a reality which experience. So the understanding, and we do not try to detect whether it is that which understand or not, but hearing, considering, understanding little by little until there is the understanding that life is only a moment of experiencing, and that is conditioned. No one can make this or that arise at all. And by being firm about no one, no self, anatta, there can be the understanding of what is heard as no one, no self. It's that, it's only that, it's only seeing little by little, because it's deeply rooted for eons and eons. So just few words is not enough unless there are conditions to hear and there is a little bit understanding and no expectation, nothing for me to understand. But it's there as it is, little by little. No one knows. Even the person cannot know the development of understanding for just a little bit, very, very little. But it can make more and more later, little by little, stage by stage, to be free from the bondage of lopa, little by little. By then one knows that it's at level of letting go lopa, only of that degree, but there are so many degrees which has to be developed, not by self, but by understanding. So one can understand what is meant by understanding is the best thing in life, in whole life, in the universe, in the world. See? That's why it's the only way to letting go, not by me, but by knowing what can let go, only right understanding, by conditions. So it's quite a long way, and it's the confidence of the parami. It has to be like this. It's the only way. So just live naturally as usual. Otherwise, lopa is then unknown. It brings about everything in life, but it's wrong. But no one knows that it's wrong. One might take it right, but it's wrong because of the self and attachment. This is why it's so deep. Dhamma is so deep and subtle, not easy to understand, very difficult to understand.
Thank you. Yeah.
Lucas, I don't know if you're there because I saw you had some technical problem. And if you're there, I know you had one or two things you wanted to ask Ajarn. Are you there, Lucas?
See him.
Yeah, I am. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ajarn. Well, I have nothing on my mind to ask Ajarn. I've heard about the right understanding and I understand that, you know. Maybe the last time, as you know, I'm struggling with the sati because we hear very little about the awareness itself, yeah? We hear about the right understanding. So the last days I was wondering only about that. If we only understand, so maybe that does go too much to intellectual thinking only, you know? If there is no like try to be aware, that's my question to Ajarn, you know?
Is there I?
No, I
Is
know
there?
there is no I, but it seems it appears like an illusion there is I. I understand that, Ajarn, and I know that if there is understanding, then each moment, no matter what, is no self, yeah. But most of the day, like be honest, is a dream, yeah. And my problem is that I don't even think to be aware. Sometimes I'm reading and studying Dhamma, and I don't think to be aware or to do a kind of practice, and that's my problem maybe because I'm forgetful. I'm daydreaming all the time.
And understanding?
Well, I cannot understand all the time, as you know, but I only do a bit, you know, a bit understanding during the day.
Understanding the word or reality right now. Just one reality right now.
I think easier is to think about the word, and I think I don't think so. Maybe sometimes there is some kind of a glitch of understanding of the reality, yeah. But as I say, there needs to be sati according to the text, according to the Tipitaka. There needs to be awareness to help understanding to understand. And if there is no awareness, then it may be only intellectual. I think, you know.
So you understand the word awareness and you have doubt about whether there is awareness now or not?
That would not be problem because I know how it is that sometimes is understanding, sometimes not. But my point is rather than I don't have any motivation or I hear very little about to be aware, you know, in daily life. That's maybe my problem.
You are interested in knowing what awareness is or whether there is awareness now. Is that problem? Whether there is awareness now or not? But you see,
that's a big problem to me because Buddha says that awareness is the best thing after life, even that protects us, the awareness, yeah. And I'm a bit worried if I'm not aware or there is no awareness, then maybe bad rebirth, you know.
Instead of just awareness, what about seeing right now? Is it useless to understand seeing? Or is it useful to understand awareness?
There is seeing for sure.
So should everything be object of understanding, or some are not and some are? Or there should be understanding of whatever is now at this moment, no choice, no selection, because it's real, no matter what. And if there is no understanding, there is no awareness. Because whenever there is awareness, there must be, whenever there is understanding, there must be awareness. But that can be known just one at a time, as now there is phassa, and there is vedana, and there is sanya. Which one is known? See? Or you just want to know only this, like awareness. You just want to understand awareness, to have awareness, or to be aware for that purpose.
Yes, Ajarn, thank you. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Thank you for that. I know, because the understanding is the best thing. I know.
No, I. Only a moment of experiencing. See, remember about sabbe dhamma anatta. It's like the key word to understand whatever appears now. No one, no self, no me. So we understand awareness is not me. It is conditions, whether it arises or not. But without awareness, there cannot be any understanding the truth of whatever appears. But we should not crave or want to have awareness, but to understand whatever, no matter awareness or right understanding, No self, not me. This is the key, not me. So study awareness as not me, not under my control, and no self, no one at all. They are different realities appearing by conditions. Understanding that no one, no self is the meaning of anatta, uncontrollable. This will lead to more understanding, and when there is understanding, there must be awareness. But understanding at that moment does not know awareness yet, until whatever can be object of understanding, it condition more confidence on anatta. Not enjoy it that, oh, I can do, but it's anatta, no expectation, no hope or wish to know this or that, but it's there, whatever. And when it's panya, it can know whatever is there. And this is the way to understand better and better about no one at all, no self, only different realities. And to understand the right awareness of the Eightfold Path, it does mean that just understand the words of the Tipitaka, Pariyatti, that it can condition awareness, that is wrong. But the understanding of no self, and no matter what is talked about, it is a reality, a conditioned reality, just arise by conditions and falls away. No more, never again, never to return, only once in samsara. So what is appearing now is different from the previous one. For sure, everything cannot return again at all. Only new one, and so short as just only when it appears. And there is no idea about that which appears is that, and we think we take it for real and it's there all the time, even it does not appear. That is wrong, because the absolute truth is that even when it is appearing, it arises and falls away. That is the Buddha enlightenment, so that he can eradicate the wrong understanding and all the defilements which cling to that which no more, just once in samsara. And no one can stop the conditions for whatever arises, because it will not arise only when there's no conditions for its arising. But as long as there are still, like now, there are conditions for everything to arise and appear all day from time to time, understanding what is conditions for each one, until panya develops of no self, no one can do anything at all. No one can control anything. It's there already while we are talking. The seeing who makes it arise, and it falls away unknown all the time. Everything is unknown. Only hearing the word, and the self just want to understand this or that, not understanding or dhammas are anatta. Just that, only that. And what next is that again, no more again. This is the only way to become detached, little by little, from wrong understanding, taking everything for permanent reality. But reality is not permanent. What is real just at the moment when it appears, only that, and shorter than that, because of the nimitta of that which arises and arises again and again until it appears as something.
Okay, Ajarn, thank you very much for the answer. Yes, I understand you. So I need to pull myself together a bit, because I lack a motivation a bit also, to practice. But what you're saying, I understand. That's true, So thank you for your answer.
My great pleasure. Did you understand that?
Lucas, what do you mean when you say you lack the motivation to practice? What do you mean by to practice here?
Right. So I need to say about the past a bit, because I started Dhamma before Ajarn Sujin. I started Dhamma like Goenka. I started like Ajahn Chah. I started do the meditation, yeah. And that was my first time with Dhamma. And that time I a bit suffering in life, you know, and this stuff. So then they told me like in the monastery, like do that way, be aware, yeah, observe this, that. And that time I felt like Buddhism was something new, meditation was something new for me. I wasn't bored till that degree now. And now when I'm studying Abhidhamma this year, I know this is no practice, nothing like do in particular order, yeah. So I feel like a bit lack of motivation, you know, because I don't have a goal in life, yeah. So that's the point, you know, and I don't spend much time on Dhamma, you know, that's what I mean.
So I think the point Ajarn was stressing is that when it's the idea that I can practice, I can be motivated, I should have a goal, it's all the idea of I. It's not the understanding of what appears right now, the seeing now, the hearing now, thinking, the boredom. It's all real. It's daily life. It's conditioned already. If there is boredom at this moment, no one can change it. No one can make it anything else. It's life at this very moment. So the trap is the idea that it should be another way, or there shouldn't be boredom, or I should be more motivated. It's not understanding what appears right at this very moment.
And I'm wondering if when you talk about lack of motivation, I'm wondering if you just mean that you don't remember or think about Dhamma as much as you think you should. But I think it's the same for all of us. A lot of the time, there's no remembering about the importance, for example, of developing understanding, or the importance of kusala, or remembering the reminders we've had. And that's normal, and that's because the understanding that has been developed is weak and is not strong enough for there to be that kind of interest all the time. But we shouldn't be discouraged by that. It's just the way things are. It's just where we are at the present moment.
Can I say something? I remember Lucas asking a question. Hello, everybody. Hello, Ajarn. I'm Alberto. I remember Lucas asking a question about Atta Adipateya, Loka Adipateya, and Dhamma Adipateya. And I've looked it up on Tipitaka, and I also remember Ajarn talking about it. I don't know if I understood rightly, and the difference between Atta Adipateya and Loka Adipateya is that it deals with not much about understanding reality. It's more about like developing samatha or samatha bhavana when there isn't the teachings are not available. While Dhamma Adipateya is developing understanding by hearing the teachings of the Buddha, and it's the best because of that, because of developing understanding of realities at this moment as not self, as the Buddha taught. Is that correct, Ajarn?
The third one, studying Dhamma, is for the sake of Dhamma, for the purpose of understanding Dhamma as Dhamma, whereas the first one, the Atta, is studying, but it could all be for me to have more awareness for me, to have more understanding, to be wiser, to get good results, to clarify the details. And the second one, the loka, is because of concern about society, what society thinks, or to make a good impression on the world, or to be useful to the world. So the true purpose of study is just for the sake of understanding Dhamma as Dhamma, not to get anything, not to expect anything, not to focus on awareness or any particular reality without any expectation, just for the purpose of understanding Dhamma.
Thank you.
I don't know if Ajarn is still there. I can't see.
Oh, yes, I'm here. And I think that in order to know the value of the teachings is that if there is no understanding of whatever appears now yet, that is, one does not have enough understanding of the word Dhamma and Anatta. Because if we say that everything is Dhamma, it's so very easy. But what is meant by Dhamma? No one at all. Just that which appears by condition as it is. That's all. And it has to be understood anytime and anywhere in order to know whether one knows enough about Dhamma. Because if it's still something there, and I see and I hear and I think and I don't understand and I don't want, that is not Dhamma. Because when it is the understanding of Dhamma, it means that there is a reality right then, unknown yet, until there is the wise word, the right word of the Buddha, which condition the understanding of the truth of it. So the proof of study Dhamma is understanding whatever appears now, no matter what you call it. When it does not appear as it is pariyatti. Just listen carefully, respectfully of the truth of the whatever is there as it is. That is expectation to the truth. And when there's not yet understand it as it is, as not I who see, the reality which experiences is there, nowhere, no one, nothing at all. But it's that which experiences. It shows itself as that is the reality which experiences. And that is another level of understanding Dhamma, not just by hearing or thinking, because it's there to be known, like to see whatever appears right now. But it's not yet the Pativeda, because Pativeda is the Buddha words from his enlightenment. Whatever arises flows away. So Panya begins from the very beginning, gradually, until it becomes the moment of what we call Patipatti, but in Pali it means Patti, just particular, that. And Patti is reach or attain the truth with understanding of it. So when there's no understanding what appears now yet, it needs more words to understand the truth of it, to know that it's true, that actually it cannot be anything at all, only that which impinge on the eye base and appear no matter who sees it or not. But when it is conditioned by the eyes base and that which impinges on it, it conditions a reality which sees now. So the seeing is conditioned now, is not I. It cannot be anyone because it just arises to see and fall away unknowingly until it appears as it is. That's why we learn to understand the virtue of the Buddha, the enlightened one. Otherwise, we just call him the Buddha, the enlightened one, but not understanding his virtues enough. The truth is the truth from all, anytime, anywhere. It cannot be changed. It can be proven. It can be understood clearly. And it's the only way to eradicate all evils which comes from ignorance and the clinging to the idea of self. And no one there, only different realities, wholesome and unwholesome, and other realities they are. And this is what is meant by study the teachings of the Buddha, or study the truth which is known by the enlightened one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ajahn.
There is what now to be studied, to be known as it is. That is the best way of living in life. Otherwise, what's the use? Everything's gone all the time until the end of life. And start again, begin again, end again. On and on and on. But this can be known as it is.
And Lucas, another point that came up the other day and what with some Vietnamese friends was someone asked about nekama or renunciation and about going forth. And because I know you mentioned about maybe going on some retreats or something. And the point that Ajarn was stressing is that no matter where you are, whenever there's no understanding, there's no getting away from the wrong idea of self. And so we may think of going to another place or going on a retreat, going to the forest or going to or ordaining. But whilst there's clinging to the idea of self, there's no nekama, no renunciation or clinging to self at this moment. And now if there's right understanding, it leads away from wrong understanding little by little. But of course, it's not easy and takes a long time. But renunciation and nekama always has to come back to this moment of understanding of what appears now. Otherwise, it's always the idea of doing something or going somewhere or being aware of particular objects or focusing on something. It's not understanding what is conditioned already at this moment. That is the nekama parami that develops with understanding, the relinquishing of wrong understanding at this moment.
Seeing it now, but it's so far away from understanding it until right understanding get closer, nearer and nearer to understand what appears now. And that is another level of understanding.
And Lee, I saw you were following before and you had so many questions before. Is there anything you would like to ask Ajarn, like your questions about science or anything? You need to unmute. We can't hear you, Anne.
Sorry, yes, my mic was off. Thank you, School Sarah, and hello to our teachers. Actually, today I have no specific questions. I just yes want to. No, sorry. Yes, today I have nothing to ask.
Anyway, it's good you could join. I'm glad you could join.
Ajarn, before there can be direct understanding, the intellectual understanding has to grow firm to the level of Satyayana. And that includes the understanding that everything is anatta, right?
It's easy to say everything is anatta, but what about no me?
Right, even now, there's no just dhammas. So as you say, it's easy to say, but
You got some background there, Sujin. Street parade.
Okay. All right. Oh, it's, background music is coming. All right, I'll try to switch that off. Okay, just close.
No problem. We're happy to have some Indian music in the background. No problem.
You were, Ajarn, you were saying earlier that about the need to have direct understanding, to develop understanding, to grow, and I was thinking that it has to, without the understanding that it's dhammas are anatta at the intellectual level, there cannot be that level of understanding, because sometimes people want to have direct understanding, and that shows that there's not enough intellectual understanding that dhammas are anatta.
Yes, that's why I say it's easy to say that all dhammas are anatta. But what about there is no me? All dhammas are not me. In your own language. Otherwise, anatta is very easy to say, but not me. Is it hard, more difficult?
It only the understanding that arises to know what appears now understands
not
that.
Not me. Not anything at all. Just that closer to that which appears. Otherwise, we talk about many stories about them. But what about not me, not there, not it, just a reality, just appear. And it is there only when it appears, no more when it doesn't appear. Not at all. And closer than that, even it is appearing, it arises and falls away in split seconds. Cannot be taken anything or anyone for something permanent at all. And this is what it's meant by the world. Whatever arises and falls away is the world. It's a world. Only world. No one, nothing.
So Ajarn, what you're reminding us is because there are people who, when asked, and they say that everything is Dhamma, everything is Anatta, and when asked what it is, they say the table, the people, situations. And then you're also reminding us that even if we have the correct theoretical understanding that it's a chitta chetasika rupa that are anatta, even that can be just a repetition of what we've heard. The point is to understand that it's now. It's what appears now.
To really understand, no matter what time, at no me, not I, no me at all. Only reality. That's the beginning of understanding Dhamma. What is Dhamma? That which is there. Only that. Not more than that. Actually, just live in a moment. From moment to moment, that's all. Without a moment, there is not me. But whenever there is a moment, it's me. It's something, it's there. But actually, there's none. And this is the truth. In the circle of death and birth unknown all the time, until there are the words from the Buddha, the enlightened one, the truth, which can be considered. And the moment of understanding is not me. Just remember, don't forget that it's not me. There's no me. It's only Dhamma.
So even as you say, and I'm thinking, oh, it's very difficult. The truth is that it's not me.
But it's not like, say, anatta, because it's closer to the truth, not me. Not I, no me. I follow it completely to the truth. It's not the previous one. So no one can stop life, no one can stop living. There are conditions for Dhamma only to go on as they are. Kusala, akusala, kiriya, and many, many unknown realities. And this is understanding Dhamma. Otherwise, it's I who understand. I who practice. But actually, just a moment of whatever arises and falls away completely.
And Ajarn, talking about Dhammas as being not me, the anatta is one of the three characteristics, as we know, anicca, dukkha, anatta. So could you say a bit about anatta as a characteristic of an arising?
Uncontrollable. Because some people think that they can control, they can do, because they believe that they are there. But actually, Dhammas are Dhammas. No one can control Dhamma. No one can make Dhamma to arise. Dhamma is Dhamma. The best right understanding is Dhamma is Dhamma. It's only Dhamma. Not me, not anyone at all. So it's the world of Dhamma. Without Dhamma, there's no world. When there's world, there are many things, people and things all around, but actually they are all different Dhammas arising and falling away all the time. So one can understand, no matter the sun, the moon, or whatever, that which arises and falls away all the time unknowingly. But nothing can stay. Nothing is permanent at all.
And when we say, Ajarn, that Dhammas are uncontrollable, is that similar to saying that Dhammas are conditioned, that they arise by conditions?
Yes, but we don't have to use such word. We can use our own word from our own understanding. Not me, not there, not it. It's just hardness, softness, and so on as absolute realities with nimitta all the time.
And Nina, this is also the understanding of nimitta, because when there is the understanding that there are just dhammas, that which arises and falls away all the time. So no matter we're talking about the sun or the moon, which Ajarn mentioned, or people or anything, it is actually just the arising and falling away of dhammas. So even though we don't use the word nimitta in this context, it's the same understanding of nimitta. Without understanding about realities, there's no understanding of what is meant by nimitta.
So, Ajarn,
Go ahead, Anne.
Yes, sorry. I have one small confirmations to Ajarn. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes. I read from some books by Ajarn. Maybe the title was Metta. It's about metta. So in the book, it is said that the recognizing the danger of moha can lead to the development of metta. So that's what I read from the book. So my question is, so it's because we are talking a lot about understanding and conditioning. So my question is, can recognizing the danger of moha can lead to the development of understanding? Because we are talking like how to develop the understanding. So up to now, what I understand from our discussion is to listen to Dhamma and to consider it carefully. Is a way that can lead to the development of understanding. But from other aspect, for example, can seeing the danger of moha can also leading to development of understanding.
Okay. Before talking about anything like moha and understanding, should we have clear understanding of what they are? At moment of understanding that it's not moha, but when there's no understanding, it's there, it's real, it cannot understand that it's moha. They are opposite. Whenever there is right understanding at that moment, there's no moha, because moha cannot understand. But when there is understanding, there cannot be moha because it understands two different kinds, two different realities, but they are not self, they are no one at all. They are themselves as they are.
Yes.
Everything is daily life. Dhamma is daily life. Without Dhamma, there's no life. So we call it, we take it life, but it's Dhamma, different Dhammas in a day.
So what Ajarn means is that the understanding itself recognize the danger of moha. So yeah. So to me, it sounds like seeing the danger of moha is just another way to express understanding.
Is it right to take whatever appears now as you? Like seeing, is it right to take it for I see, seeing is I, or seeing just arises to see, only see? It cannot do other thing, just see, only see, and then falls away. You cannot make it go on, not fall away at all.
yes. 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 yes
So the absolute truth is there are no one, no self, but there are different realities. They are all dhammas. Each moment is conditioned to arise. It has to be as conditioned, arise, condition it to arise.
Yes.
So it's only the development of understanding that gradually understands more and more about the danger of not understanding, of ignorance. So without the development of understanding, nothing is known about anything. So the more understanding, the more moha is revealed, the more it's clear how little is understood. So that's why the emphasis is always on understanding, because if there's just thinking about moha but without any understanding, then nothing is recognized at all.
Yes, I understand. Thank you very much.
Is it better to know that there's no I, or is it better to know that there is I? See, the truth is the truth. To understand moha and to understand panya.
Like Lucas mentioned, there are maybe some moments of wise considering, some moments of understanding in the day, but most of the time there's just thinking with moha about all kinds of things without any understanding. But at least there's the beginning of appreciating how little is known, how little understanding there is in a day. So this is beginning. And usually because whatever is seen or heard or thought about is taken for me.
So the truth is the truth all the way. Is it good to have the I, or it is good to know that actually there's no I at all? See, in order to understand panya and avijja, that's the development of truthfulness. To be true to the truth.
I find it very useful, the point that Sarah made. The more understanding, the more moha is revealed. And I felt that especially when listening to the explanation on nimitta. I found it difficult, and I realized how little understanding there is. So that is very useful.
And this understanding will condition more understanding and know
Yes.
from what can bring more and more understanding.
Because moha can only be revealed to understanding.
And the sincerity, the truthfulness to realize it. To admit how little understanding there is.
And if there's any minding or expectation or disappointment, or then it's all about me again. It's not understanding. Those two things.
Very good reminder.
not my moha or my misunderstanding, or it's just moments of dharmas passing away. Usually, like Lucas said, it seems that it's one's own ignorance or one's own unwise attention that is something special, but it doesn't belong to anyone. It's just different dharmas. Like when we were talking about vitaka, it's the same with moha or any other reality. They're just different realities that arise and pass away. So very common, not belonging to anyone at all. Not me.
Yeah, that's very good.
So even just to be true and sincere to the Dhamma, all Dhammas are anatta, even as short as this, what is about sincerity and truthfulness to it. All depends on understanding, which can develop from hearing and considering the right words, the true words of the Buddha. And from hearing more and more, right understanding will be firmer and firmer, and more confidence on the truth.
It's almost time to finish, so I don't know if there's anyone who hasn't said anything yet, like Azita, or anyone who'd like to just say anything before we finish the session.
Hello.
Tran. Hello, Tran.
Hi, Ajarn and everyone. I'm Tuấn from Vietnam. Firstly, I would like to say thank you to Ajarn and everyone, because from the time which my son introduced me to Ajarn and her book, it helped me a lot in understanding about the reality. Because when I was a child, I always ask some question. Why this is called a table, or why this is called a bicycle, or why the man who the man and the lady is called the papa or mom. No one can answer me this question, or why we were born, or the reason that we were born to do something. I have a lot of questions that I cannot answer or find the answer that satisfy me. But after I heard about the Dhamma and hear the discussion from Ajarn and you, all of you, and I have a I have understanding about the nama, rupa, and now I can feel the path to the path quite clearly, not like before, because before I know about the Abhidhamma, I do not know how to develop the understanding, and I have just a small question. It's about the Mr. An question earlier. He said that when we realize the danger of moha, so it's some kind that we can develop the understanding. So to my understanding, it means when we know this chitta is the moha, so it means that at this moment we understand about the reality. What exactly arise? It means understanding about the reality. Is that right?
Yes, we have to know what is real. Even just very simple question like, what is real? See, it takes time to think about it. What is real? This moment is real, right?
Yes.
Because the other moment gone and the other moment has come yet. So what is real must be now at this moment. What is there is real. But what is it which is there? There is no understanding at all because there is no thinking or learning to understand the truth of it, because everything appears not as it is, but appears as not it is, like window, people, thing, at moment of seeing. But the truth is that only that which can impinge on the eye base, or we can use very simple word, the eye, can condition seeing. Without the eye, there cannot be seeing. And when there's no seeing, nothing can appear like window and people and thing. So actually, the absolute truth is different from what we take from birth, not knowing anything, but learn to understand the truth of what is there. And this is real. So what is real is this moment.
It's about the seeing, hearing.
Whatever now is real, only now, at this very moment. Because that which is there has gone completely. That which hasn't come yet hasn't come yet. So what is just there now? And the truth is that what appears now arises and falls away instantly, unknown. This is the absolute truth that should be or can be known little by little from hearing and considering again and again. So the teachings of the Buddha taught about everything which can be known anytime.
And the understanding that we are talking about, it can be weak or strong. It can be very weak, almost imperceptible. And there are different levels. So there is a level that we call intellectual understanding. At that time, there is not the direct understanding of realities, but there is understanding about realities, presently arising realities. So the beginning level will be of that intellectual kind, and it may be very weak also. It will be weak also. But at that moment, there is some understanding of the reality of ignorance that is arising.
So again, what is real? Next Saturday answer or today answer.
Ajarn, thank you very much. So we have another discussion like this next Saturday, and we also have our regular ones tomorrow if anyone is free to join then as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.